Ooh, Morty. I'm excited for this one. We are talking about the Merc with the Mouth. That's right, it is Deadpool and Wolverine that we're talking about. I gotta show you this first. Hopefully this shows up well. Rocking the Deadpool socks for this one. And you already know that I wore those to the theater when I went to go watch this. This is a spoiler-free review, so worry-free about that. First note, before we get started with anything, I do have to call out that there was a really little kid in the screening that I went to. Don't do that. That's not good parenting. We had this call out from the first movie when we were telling everyone this is a very R-rated superhero movie. Don't bring the kids. Same thing applies. Wolverine has been rated R since the last movie. This is not kid-friendly. This is definitely an adult movie. It's a very entertaining movie. Let's talk about it. I've got lots of thoughts here. What better place to start than the opening? I think the very opening scene is a lot of fun. To me, it really was Deadpool finding the magic of the leaked footage that started this whole shebang off on social media and online presence of, whoa, look how awesome a Deadpool movie could be. That's what it felt like. It was fast-paced, it was energetic, it was entertaining. Everything that I was looking for in an opening to a Deadpool movie, that's what we got. It sets up the ridiculous tone that we're coming to expect. I think it does a great job. And then here's where the opinions really come in. Because the first third of the movie made me wonder if I am just now a grumpy old man in many ways. I didn't like it. I thought it was honestly pretty bad. Like the exposition, the setup of the motivation. How do we tell people what our main character's motivation is going to be? Why don't we just tell the audience? And you just see Deadpool walking into a room and he goes, man, I really want to do something. I want to be part of something greater. I want to make a difference. Thanks, Custom Ink, on that one. Wow, okay. Great. So it was just very basic setup, and that part felt a little lazy. And then also there were some jokes that were pretty good, but also I just was watching the first third and was like, I don't know, this isn't really doing it for me. And it really made me start to question of, am I just like now the guy that's watching the middle schoolers just loiter in the parking lot and just like wagging my finger at them? That's what I felt like watching the first third. It's not very good in my opinion. But that is where the Deadpool is of the movie. And it's something that we've gotten a few rounds of the Merc with the Mouth, and it was definitely very much needed that we needed a switch up of the formula. And I think it was a really, really smart move to make this the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I can't believe they pulled all of this off, but they did. And as soon as Hugh Jackman enters the picture, as soon as Wolverine comes into play, I'm talking exponentially a better movie. Like, if you want to add some actual acting chops, some actual credibility, Hugh Jackman is a very good actor to go and try to grab. And to actually pull it off was really, really awesome to see. There's actually some scenes where Hugh Jackman actually showcases some really good acting because he's very talented. Sure, you're not going to get that from the other actors, but it's just the nice reprieve from all of the vulgarness of what we get from the rest of the movie. So it does help strike the balance. Hugh Jackman is such a great addition to this cast, and he, had his own stipulations on the only way he could possibly return to the role, and I think they just do it really, really well. But outside of Hugh Jackman, there are lots of characters, lots of cameos. There were a couple that I had heard rumblings about, but I was very surprised by how many surprising cameos there were in the movie. Like, this one character went onto the screen, I'm like, whoa, they're in this? And there was actually a lot of fun to it. So really Ryan Reynolds really, I think, took the best case of saying, well, okay, we've merged with Marvel and we're a part of Disney, and there's this whole multiverse thing going on as well. I guess Deadpool's got to make fun of all of those things. And the self-awareness of the current state of the Disney Marvel multiverse is completely said out loud by Ryan Reynolds, and the fact that he's part of that IP, he is part of this Disney Marvel whole transition where they merged with 20th Century Fox. It was so good. He does it in such a comedic way. It's exactly what Deadpool had to say, and he does it really well. Now, a lot of the cameos are a lot of fun, and there's a lot of humorous moments that come from them, and there's also a lot of respect that came into asking certain people to come play these certain characters. Again, being very vague here, avoiding the spoilers. But the worry that comes with cameos is the whole shock surprise factor of, whoa, let's bring back this one person from this one thing that happened to No Way Home, the Spider-Man movie, because there was just this incredible, oh wow, they actually were able to bring these guys back from that movie. But once you get past that initial shine, there's a lot of initial just shine to the first viewing that you have, but then I lose a lot of that whole sparkle of, oh, I want to go back and see this movie that doesn't have too much character arcs or too much story going on. And it loses kind of what holds a film up and what lets it have that lasting appeal. And I'm sure there is going to be elements of that to this film just because of how many cameos that they do have, that after you watch it, maybe you do forget about some just because there are so many, but you also know some stuff and what's going to happen. So what brings me back to a film are solid jokes, entertaining action, as well as still can get emotional over some really good character arcs. And I don't want to undercut the fact that even though there are a lot of cameos, and even though there is going to be a little bit of a factor of, okay, after you see it once, now you know that the cameos are there, and you're not going to have that surprise factor the next time you watch it, unless you wait many years, you can still be surprised. But I don't want to undercut the passion that Ryan Reynolds and the rest of the cast and crew put into this film, because there's too many references. Even if I wanted to spoil this entire movie to you, I would completely forget about so many things that they showcased in this movie. There is a lot going on, and there's just really thoughtful direction here. There's so many call-outs to stuff that the die-hard fans are going to appreciate. There's stuff that movie industry people are going to appreciate. There are some nice pop culture call-outs as well. There's this whole wide swath of who gets kind of made fun of, who gets the call-outs during the movies. And something that is something that I think the show Billions like really excels at in particular, where it feels like I know about something because it's part of my interests, but I don't bring it up in regular conversation because I don't think some other person is going to know about this random little tidbit that I know about. But then Deadpool makes a joke about this tidbit that I feel like is locked up inside of me, and I'm like, oh wow, this feels like a joke almost personalized to me. This is something that maybe not all the jokes landed with every person around me, but there are a few that do stand out in my mind of like, wow, like I thought that was such a smart and fun thing to reference that I would have never thought to put in a mainstream movie because it would go over other people's heads. So there's really good call-outs in general, some actual thoughtfulness behind a lot of the jokes. Again, people are going to appreciate who actually did get the call and made the cut in coming into this movie. And then beyond that, there's just actual solid jokes And there's really well choreographed action. I don't want to undersell that as well. There is very entertaining action, which is something that is a huge part of Deadpool himself, is just his arsenal of weapons and just his regenerative abilities and how much fun you're able to play around with that whole universe and the fourth wall breaking and all the other references that can come out of this. There was really well choreographed action. I think the action scenes are really well done. When you break this film down, you're not going to get a big emotional payoff. You know, you get the acting chops from Hugh Jackman, and that's about it. But also when you boil things down, this is a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And I don't necessarily need that emotional payoff. It prevents me from giving this a higher rating just because I feel like, you know, I don't want to make a joke about the Martin Scorsese. This is real cinema. I kind of do want to make that joke though, but it is really something that I think there is actually some truth in what Scorsese says, and maybe he didn't say it in a very good way. But what emotional character arcs are we finding in some of these more recent superhero movies? And sometimes it feels like a lot of that stuff is absent. But if you have a goal in mind and you're trying to achieve that goal, did they achieve that goal? And the goal to me of a Deadpool and Wolverine movie is making a lot of call-outs and kind of really knowing that this is going to be the last Deadpool movie they're going to make. So what do I want to put in this movie? What can I do with my fourth wall breaking? And I just want to make it entertaining. At the end of the day, after the first third of the movie, I was thoroughly entertained for the rest of the movie. And it's some of the most fun that we have had post-Endgame when it comes to the Marvel multiverse. So with that being said, this is a solid 7 out of 10 film. Lots of good stuff to take away from this. The first third, again, is what really brings this down. But, you know, maybe I'm also still just being a little bit grumpy and not even giving a higher rating because of how entertained I actually was by this, and that you just won't find from other superhero movies. But as of right now, 7 out of 10 is what I'm sticking with. As a final note, again, no spoilers here, as a final note, that certain end credit scene, if people would have interest in me memorizing the lines to that scene, because I have heard that the person that does that end scene, that they were off book, they actually memorized the line instead of having cue cards. If they can do it, I kind of have a little desire in myself to say I can do it too. I think it could just be disastrous in many ways to film myself saying that end credit scene. I also think it would actually be kind of entertaining too. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, that's something I would consider. We're not giving you any guarantees, but keep it in mind. I'll see you at the next one. See ya.